Welcome everyone to the Entrepinayship Summit. Thank you for joining today's panel as PhilDev presents Advancing the Philippines and Venturing into Tech. I'm Jonesy Castro, Executive Director for PhilDev USA, and I'll be your moderator. And joining me today are three incredible women. First, we have Ronna Reyes-Sieh, co-founder of the Coding School, Korina Bertulfo, more commonly known as MK or Mommy MK, who is the CEO and founder of FH Moms. And we have Buan, Investor Relations at Asana. We're going to speak about everything today, from your journeys in business and tech to your personal roles as mothers and all the lessons you've learned along the way. We're also going to get your thoughts and insights on emerging economic possibilities for Filipinos through innovation, tech, and education. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome, ladies. So I'm going to start this panel off with giving each of you just a quick opportunity to tell us about yourselves and about your business and how things have been going kind of through these tricky, crazy times. Ronna, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Really excited to be here. I am an entrepreneur, so happy to be part of this group. You know, right now I am running the coding school. It is a coding school for kids 6 to 19 years old. We are based in the Philippines, and over the last couple of months, we've grown to service students in 10 countries and really have provided jobs for many Filipinos here to teach from their homes all over the world. So I'm very excited about that. I was born in the Philippines, did my undergraduate in the US, worked in the US and in the Philippines, now equal amounts of time. So I can bring that perspective here. I both worked in corporate and as an entrepreneur, but above all, I'm a mother. And trying to juggle all that is something that I look forward to sharing with you and also listening from the other panelists.
Thank you. MK?
Hi everyone, I'm MK Bertulfo, CEO and founder of Filipina Homebased Moms. We started as a Facebook group in 2017, and now as a social enterprise, what we do is we help Filipino mothers land an online job through our various programs such as free training. We also have a computer rent to own since the pandemic started. And we also got a client that hires 1,000 work from home employees. And people don't know that we also do market research and advertising for international and local clients. And on a personal note, yes, I'm also a mom. I got pregnant at 20, and as a work from home mom, I'll be happy to share tips on how you could juggle your work from home job as well as your responsibilities at home.
Great, thank you, MK. Catherine?
Hi, and thank you very much for having me on. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be part of this gathering. I'm Catherine Buan. I'm currently the VP of Investor Relations at Asana. My specialty is actually helping entrepreneurs and founders raise capital. Right now, Asana is run by the original co-founders of Facebook, Dustin Moskovitz. And the last IPO I did we just did an IPO, also did help the founder of Lyft, Logan Green, do his IPO, as well as DocuSign, AppDynamics, Okta, all founder-led companies, all entrepreneurs. And that is the founder is the heart and soul of a company. So being able to help a founder see their dream through is phenomenal. But there's a lot of ways to get to liquidity, and I'm also COVID has opened up a whole nother situation here. My daughter started a online tutoring company that went completely viral, and now we're working together. She's now incorporated in California. That's got hundreds of tutors in 6 different countries, and going through probably a lot of the same things that everyone here goes through as entrepreneurs. Lastly, I'm a mom, single mom, 2 girls, and they're both entrepreneurs in their own. So I'm behind the girls.
Awesome. Thank you, Catherine. So I'm going to actually jump into first, like sort of the tech space. Ronna, you were originally in finance, and now you're leading this company in ed tech or education technology. Can you tell us a little bit about how you sort of made that move from finance into starting your own company in education technology? So pretty much kind of a new space for you.
Yeah, and it was very organic. So yes, it is true. I started in finance. I was a banker at Morgan Stanley. My job really was to help startups. I was on the other side of Catherine, go IPO. So I was very familiar with startups and the pain of growing and getting to know them and getting them to a stage where they're ready for the public. I was still a banker when moved to the Philippines, worked for a new bank that came here. But then I'm also, as I said, a mother. I had an 11-year-old daughter who was very much into coding. And she learned early, was learning online, and then started tutoring kids in our building until our dining room table had, I don't know, from 3 people to 20 people every Saturday eating all our food. And then when she couldn't handle it anymore, I had thought of bringing in coding schools from other countries or around here to help this pool of children. When we couldn't find one that was appropriate, we did what was outside of my comfort zone. And my daughters is we kind of grew it and started our own. And that's really where I guess a pain point that we experienced led us to where we were. And we really are growing this in a way that we can continue to be a sustainable part of the ecosystem in the Philippines. And so that's, I think, why we are where we are. And ed tech is very much an important part of a society and growing a society and strengthening pieces of society that is important for the economy. So I'm really thrilled to be in this space, and that's the journey to where we are now.
Thank you. MK, is your journey, similar, or, how did you, I guess, come to build FH Moms? You said you were a mom. I mean, was it a personal experience that led you to build the business that you have now?
In relation to what Miss Ronna says, I remember when I got pregnant and I don't have a job. What I did, I teach the kids in our community as their tutor. So that is my first time educating other people, I guess. And then after that, after giving birth to my son, I applied for call center jobs, and then I transitioned to working from home because of the traffic, the stress, and all that. And of course, I want to be with my family. So when I landed my first online job, luckily, I was able to help a mommy friend of mine. That is why I started Filipina Homebased Moms, just to help other moms. And I was so surprised because a lot of moms joined, maybe because all of the moms are looking for an online racket or an extra income. And then after 6 months of engaging in the community, I decided to go to different places here in the Philippines, to remote areas from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. I even went to Davao, Cebu, and Zamboanga just to reach out to our members and teach them for free. So that is how we started. And then our overseas moms, particularly in UAE, we have a lot of OFW members there. They asked if I could also do an online training. So that was the birth of our online courses, until I decided to hire more mommy trainers who could teach other digital skills training, because I can only teach the basic things that they need to learn. So I hired someone who could teach social media marketing, accounting and bookkeeping, general virtual assistance, writing, photo and video editing. So I'm very happy to be in the edtech space, and it's fulfilling because every single day I receive messages from our mommy members that they landed an online job, and for me it's a dream come true, because I'm not only fulfilling my own dream but other moms' dreams. So I'm very happy to share our advocacy to all these moms.
That's so great. Catherine, I know your path has been a little bit different. Not necessarily starting your own company, but being involved with all the startups that you named earlier. How did you sort of move into that role in tech? And again, also from finance into just more investor relations, and what has that journey been like for you?
Similar to MK and Ronna, it's so fascinating how organically your life can unfold, and particularly when you follow your passion, how that can lead to many successful paths. There is not just one single path. So like Ronna, I started in finance and investment banking, and the CFO of a company called Oracle, he said, what do you, I was like 25 years old or whatever. And he said, what are you going to do? You're just going to go get your MBA? You don't really know anything. You just run spreadsheets. Why don't you learn how the business works? And, I should just say that it's such a blessing. Relationships are everything in business and in life. There's the relationships with work and the people you work with, your constituents, and of course your family, which we'll also talk about. But that was the launch of it, is, just the curiosity and the opportunity and being able to just jump at an opportunity. I thought I was going to do that for a couple of years and learn about the software business. And I ended up 25 years later doing many software businesses. And, again, like really supporting founder-led companies is huge. But you find that the world is not black and white, and there aren't just 7 types of jobs in the world. There's so many nuances, and investor relations is really just financial marketing. So it was not a shift in a lot of ways. It was just marketing from the financial side, because these are all, public equities. And then as a mom, I have to tell you this one story. I said, because I've been working all the time, and I asked my daughter, she had 2 daughters, and one day I was working from home before COVID, before it was normal. And I came driving up in my sweats, and it's like 3 p.m, and she's like, what happened to you? Why didn't you get dressed today? I'm like, aren't you happy that I'm here to pick you up? I never get to pick you up. And she goes, no way, Mom. When you pick me up and you just came from work, it makes me think, if my mom can do something cool, that means I can do something cool someday. And I was like, I love you. But I just wanted to end on that, because I just think that women have so much opportunity right now, whether it's in tech, marketing, consumer products. And now tech is not like a thing. Tech and software is pervasive. So whatever idea or passion that you have, tech is here to just enable you. So I think this is a fantastic forum and an opportunity to go in any direction that you want. And just remember, there's not one path to success. There's many paths and many choices that can turn out fantastic.
Thank you. That's, I think, very encouraging and inspiring, especially given, again, sort of the change in environment and culture with the pandemic, and sort of how everybody has had to deal with that a little bit differently. So, what I wanted to talk about next was both for Ronna and MK, but with your businesses being, so heavily offered online, and you rely on that business. Can you tell us how your business has been impacted because of the pandemic, and if and how you've had to sort of pivot in this short window, or in the last 6 to 8 months, given the situation of people working remotely and really just doing what we're doing now and doing everything online and communicating virtually? Do you want to start, Ronna?
Sure. Now we're known as an online business, but we were not online before. We were just bricks and mortar, 3 locations, everything was face-to-face. We had prepared online modules, but we thought, we'll get there when we get there. And then lockdown happened. And really, it was kind of a shock, because, I had to change so much as a coworker and as a leader. I never liked work from home. I never trusted anybody. work from home for me meant, you're going to be watching Netflix, right? And you have to be in the office and I have to see it. But then I really had to change and I had to trust. And so the first decision was, should we shut down the business or should we go online? That was it, right? And I had my two key people with me and, we were talking about it. And I actually had to pull away from work for 2 days and really had to do this deep think. And what were the priorities were in my head? And I said, safety. Can we do something safely? Can we do something that's going to create jobs? Can we do something that's of quality, like global quality, not just trying to get by? And 3, is it essential? Because people are going to lose jobs. This has to be worth their time and money. And when I really thought we could do it, we just had to be brave and we went for it. And we grew nicely. We grew from a handful of tutors to 100, 1,000 students, 10 countries, we're now up to 30 plus modules. But really working remotely has required me to be more organized and everybody to be more organized. Our meetings are very much on point. Catherine earlier was saying that, your shorter meetings are actually more effective now because you get to the point, right? We used to have all these KFC lunches. I love all our fast food. We don't have it anymore. I miss that. But I think that was half our day. And everyone is so proud to be part of this. But there's a couple of things though that we had to learn going online. First is boundaries, right? Because when you work online, there's no start and end of the workday. So sometimes we would talk at 9 p.m. in the beginning, and I thought this is not healthy. And we would have long meetings, so we shorten it, and then we stuck to a fixed workday. The other thing is the wellness, mental health of the team. I never did yoga before. I never did that whole calm.com thing, right? And I'm like, I cannot meet my team if I don't have the calm.com. And they know if I don't have that, it's not going to be a good day. So I actually urge my team to make time for that, because it's really affecting us. We're very excited, we're growing, we're doing a lot of things, but we're not touching and feeling each other. We're missing a big part of that. So I think that is something that is very top of mind for me now. I know we will be okay. We will continue to grow. We have an amazing team, but we have to take care of our mental health. And then finally, the last thing I'm doing is I'm back to being a student myself. I am double the age of a lot of the classes I go to online, and I love it. I urge everyone who is as old as me, I won't have to say my age, but whatever age, right? Learning doesn't have to stop, and it's just such a beautiful time to do it, and everybody's so welcoming. So that's the.
Can you ask what you're learning?
I have taken Yale's Learning How to Learn class. I have taken a marketing class. I've taken, MBA type classes. I have taken How to Breathe class. Inhale, exhale. Okay, I'm on it. All this, I do meditation with Jay Shetty. I'm there. Okay, so it's like a different person. So it's been a very tough time, but I think, with the right mindset, we can try to get through this. So that's my lockdown story.
Awesome. Thank you, Ronna. How about you, MK? How has the pandemic impacted your business? I guess, and I know you just moved and everything.
Yeah.
So
a lot of things happened actually. So for our community members, a lot of our moms lost their jobs, their businesses, and they got overwhelmed because of the online schooling. But for our community and our startup business, we actually accelerated in all aspects because we've been waiting for this new normal since we started Filipino Home-Based Moms 3 years ago. We've been working from home, so it's no longer normal for us to be stuck at home, work, and take care of the family. So it has been our normal ever since. So for our startup, in terms of our online courses, we launched our e-learning platform, Buan, on the same month. For our computer rent-to-own program, it's actually helping not just the moms, but also the kids with their online schooling. and it's in partnership with another company. And we're very happy because it has been helping a lot of Filipinos because it's in installment program for a year. So it's much more affordable compared to getting a unit for cash. And then as per our recruitment services, it's funny because on the same week after launching our computer rental program, which also supports our recruitment, we got this big client looking for 500 work from home employees. And recently we got another client looking for 1,000 work from home employees. So it's amazing because a lot of our members think that because of the pandemic, it will be, you know, less opportunities for us, but it's actually the opposite. And even with our advertising, I noticed that a lot of the clients are looking for communities like us to advertise their products. So it adds to our revenue. So we were able to, you know, do more virtual events. And in line with what Ms. Ronna mentioned earlier, we also did an event called FH Kids Boot Camp. So it's for the kids. We were able to teach them graphic design, coding as well. So yeah, those are the things that we did during the pandemic. And now we're having a donation drive for our kababayan who were affected by the typhoon. We were able to raise now more than 50,000 pesos for just 2 days.
Oh, that's so great. I'm so happy to hear that. And I, hope that everybody is doing well. I think all of you have mentioned, that you've looked at it very positively, that even in the midst of the pandemic, that you're learning things, you've looked at it as an opportunity for your businesses to change and grow. But, I'm going to kind of switch it a little bit in that a lot of studies here in the US have shown that by working from home, more women in the household have been affected by working from home than men or their male counterparts. Often to the point where women, especially mothers, so all three of you have either had to or chosen to either step back or step down so that they can handle the needs of the household. So we wanted to just kind of get your thoughts again as mothers, working mothers, successful professionals, and in how that has affected, or if it has affected your work-life balance as a mom and your choices that you've had to make along the way. I'll start with Catherine, since that was those were some studies shown here in the US especially. But has that sort of affected your, home life with your daughter working for, or studying from home and you working from home? Has that changed your daily life, I guess?
Well, no, absolutely. And it affects everybody personally. And because of that, it affects everyone personally. So not only do I think about my personal experience, but the personal experience of everybody on the teams that I work with. So, I mean, we have meetings all day long and people have their dogs and their cats crawling on them. And a lot of times they have a baby in their lap, or they have to stop, put pause on the meeting because they've got to go take care of their kids. And it's really wonderful though, because I think at least, in the Valley, people are pretty, maybe not everybody, but I think there's an opportunity for companies to really not be tone deaf to the lives of their teams. And it's so interesting because we probably shouldn't have to have COVID to make that happen. So there's a silver lining that COVID has heightened the awareness that everybody on these teams have families to deal with too. And so I feel like one silver lining is teams are now aware of your personal life and they're a little more sensitive and it's actually been really moving how much people have accommodated other people. And so for me personally, everybody's got to be on Zoom. So just to find like vying for space, like somebody gets the office, another person gets their bedroom. I want the kitchen table. And you really have to like orchestrate where everyone's going to be. And then there's an expectation, normally we're all dispersed at school and at different offices. Who makes lunch for everybody? And it oftentimes becomes the mom. And if it's doable, I do a lot of food prep on Sundays and then try to do like quick stuff, get stuff together, like grain bowls and salads and stuff like that, so that we're ready to go at lunchtime and at dinner. And I also think it's fascinating that despite the fact that I don't have a 1-hour commute, I still don't have time to cook dinner. Like the meetings just keep going and I'm just super exhausted. And I had technically 2 hours more free
per day.
Exactly. So it's affected a lot of things. I think for me personally, one silver lining is being around the kids more is such a gift, because I have been on the road so much all these years, and now they're a little older, they're teenagers. And then my 16-year-old, I was just telling Ronna and Jonesy about this. She started doing actually a little bit like Ronna, she started tutoring for neighbors, and now she started a business and just incorporated in the state of California. And, she's finding her own path, which is phenomenal to be there with her side by side, which I'm not sure that I could do as much if I weren't at home. So I think there's some really rough spots and some silver linings to all of it. But I think it stretches all of us. And when you're stretched, you realize how much you can do. And so I think that's the big takeaway for me.
Okay. Well, MK, you were saying that, it's almost like you've been preparing for this moment, right? That it's not a new normal for you, that this is really what you're teaching other moms to do already. So I guess, has anything changed, or have you learned anything new, or any additional tips to share for these new moms that are now working from home and, caring for?
I prepared for the work from home setup, but not with the online schooling. So I remember there's this week that it was crazy, because it's the first week of the online class of my son, and they adopted our nephew. So this first week was also our first week at home. So we moved from the city here in the province in Batangas. So we have to move all of our things, and it's hard, because I thought it will only take me a week or so in terms of moving, but it's actually a month now, and we're still doing a lot of things at home. Plus the hectic schedule of the kids, because they do both online and offline homework. So it's crazy. But what I did, I asked for extra help from our parents and family members, so that they could help me, because we're actually waiting for the wired internet connection. But because of the stress at home in our previous home, because it's just an apartment, we really pushed to transfer here in Batangas. It's one reason why we have to move, because of the stress that my son, especially my son, has been shouting almost every day because of the COVID-19 situation. So I believe it's also the stress that affected him. So I'm happy that we're now here in the province. We could go out freely.
Thank you. I think you really touched on something there, which is that you reached out and asked for help from, like you said, other parents, your friends and family. And I think that that's something important to note, that it's good to ask for help, and that it's okay to ask for help from other people. So thank you for that. Ronna, did you have anything else to add to that about, what your situation's been like, both working from home, like you said, but yes, you're learning things, but you also have a whole family. You have 3 daughters and a husband, all in the same space.
Yeah, and a dog.
How do you balance that, right? How do you make time for everybody, including yourself?
Yeah, so I said I have a dog. The dog actually calms all of us down. So whoever, it's really been kind of an emotional support for us. Emotional support dogs are real. But it's so funny when Kathy talked about meals. Two of my daughters interned in our company in the coding school over the summer, and every Friday night we'd have a Friday huddle where like everybody gets in the huddle. It's really fun and everything, and it's usually like right after dinner, and you kind of just share. But I'm there preparing for that thing. So they have different kinds of questions. So one day the question was, what did you have for dinner? And because a lot of our coaches are young people who live with their parents, they would say, I had adobo with pinakbet, like a full, very nice meal. And my two daughters said, we had a hot dog. We had to share a hot dog. And I'm like, why did they say hot dog? And I realized because I'm in charge of the meals, but when I'm at work, I forget about feeding them. And that's what I do on Friday is I prepare for this meeting. And I'm like, my gosh, my own kids, right? So I had to be more conscious. So sometimes you still have, even if you're home and you're there, you still have to remember that, you can't forget your role. And I remember like sitting there like, oh, that's right. They had nothing to eat. There was ketchup and leftover hot dogs. Okay. So that's the reality. We're still juggling. We're still learning. But there's so many things. I did ask help from my husband, because I have 3 teenager girls. So there's the academic support, emotional support. They don't have their friends around them. So something happens, we are the ones in front of them. But what I've done is I've stopped my workday at a certain time. And I don't work after a certain time. If my kids need me before that time that I set as my end work time, it's on my calendar. So you want to talk to me at 3 p.m. because of something, it goes on the calendar. So they've learned how to be on a calendar and schedule, even if they're just a few steps away. And school has also been tough, and being on screen so much. So every once a week we have a game at home that we do. It's the cheesiest game, whatever, it's one of those games that you see in old fiestas in the Philippines, like, you have a spoon with an egg and you go from one place to another, or you pick from a container. We just kind of try to have something that's offline and fun, to kind of all ground us again. So positives and negatives, and I'm just learning how to handle all of this.
Awesome. And now I'm going to actually jump to a totally different topic, but it's been a hot topic, I think, for a lot of companies here in the Valley, but I think worldwide as companies grow, which is the topic of diversity. And I think each of you have a different position, both in where you live and at the companies that you're at. But I'll start with Catherine. Can you just talk to us a little bit about being a Filipina American woman in the workplace, person of color in a generally male, white dominated industry, and how you've traversed the last, I don't know, I guess your career through that, and what are your lessons learned or recommendations for other Philam women or entrepreneurs, like kind of trying to find their way in business?
Oh, absolutely. I started in the 90s in finance, and literally it was like a bad made for TV movie where not only are you the only female in the room, but forget about color. Like, there's no diversity at all. But things have changed a lot in the last couple of decades. And part of it's being in a little bit of a tech bubble here. Back then, you just had to be really tough. You had to assimilate. And when I first was pregnant with my first daughter, I didn't want to tell anybody I was pregnant. Like I just bought looser pants and tried to hide the pregnancy because I didn't want to get fired. I was young, I was working my way up, and it was so not good. But to me, not knowing any better back then, it was just the norm. I didn't judge it right or wrong. I just didn't like it, but you just do it. Fast forward, by the time I had my second kid, I realized, and it was part of the reason why I stayed in the tech side, in the corporate side, as opposed to in the banking side, because people were just becoming a little bit more woke. And so by that time, I was an executive of my second kid. And so it enabled me to make a difference for other women who were, starting to have families and stuff. So we started to get, like, I had to nurse, I had to like breast pump in the middle of the day. And so it was early, but we got nursing rooms for moms. And if you're pregnant, you got the handicap parking, in the front. I mean, these are things that people were completely clueless to 20 years ago. Like, it's a big deal when you're 8 months pregnant and you're like walking from the other side of with your briefcase or your computer and all this stuff. And I kind of joke about it, but it was really hard. And I'm so heartwarmed now that there's so much for women. And then so that's just accommodation for family planning. For careers, and as you know, I have 2 daughters, the world is just cracked open for women. Like the funding for women, for minorities, and for the good and bad of it, every company has to hit quotas for their boards, for their executive teams, for their training, for all their base hiring. And so I would just like lean in, but it has been a long journey. And I hope that everybody on this call can benefit from all the things that are changing today. I would just say, like, keep the door open and just say yes to everything, because there's so much tailwind behind women right now. It's not to say that everything is perfect, because there's still a lot of discrimination. And you're right. I mean, I think that just feeling like you have to acclimate and normalize was a big pressure back then. But now I think there's a lot of celebration for diversity, and it is a wide open door for everybody on this call.
Awesome. Well, Ronna, do you feel the same? I mean, you've had really the opportunity to work both in the US and then now in the Philippines for the last, is it around maybe a decade or so? So you've really seen the difference, I guess, in working in the US and in the Philippines. So maybe the diversity issues are a little bit different. But can you speak to that a little bit and what it's been like in both places, in the US and in the Philippines, starting your own company and the challenges that you've had to face as a female founder and leader?
In terms of starting my own company, I'm not sure if I could have done that in the US. In the Philippines now, I do have some kind of family support and other support that allows me to do that. There's something about here, it's a very community support that if I had to, I could leave my kids with acquaintances. People are just very, very open and friendly here. It's a cultural thing. And in the US, I'm not sure if I could have started a business. I would have probably continued in corporate. I did have a consulting firm while I was in the US, my own, but I could not hire, I think I had one person, but now I'm able to do this. But one of the things I do want to, so that's a cultural environment difference that I have experienced, New York versus Manila. But in what we're doing now in computer science, teaching coding, a lot of the coaches, students are really male still. And I do make an effort to hire more women, and even educate more women. If we don't hit 50% female students, we're teaching them for free and going up. We're going to hit the 50%. I'm so excited to meet MK today. You don't understand MK. I'm such a fan. I want to join your club because, there's no better way to empower a woman than empower her economically. And I was privileged. I went to university. I went to MBA, and even that I had to fight for it. I had a plaque made because I incorporated a little square. It's a copper thing that said Ronna Reyes-Sieh Inc. I keep that next to me. It's all the time. It's in my datebook. My datebook's far away. I would lift it up here because I don't want to forget, to invest in yourself. My husband, we graduated the same time. He doesn't have to stop his tracks for anything, right? And, I allow it. And I don't want people to do that. You just keep on going, like Kathy said. And things are in our favor. So the two things is now with technology and work from home, and it's, it's more acceptable now. I welcome that. I will fully support that. And I think people should take advantage of that now. My mentors were all men, but now I mentor a lot of people, and I can get mentors who are women. Please, and people are very open to mentorship, very happy about that. And finally, one of the things that was very difficult for me as a woman was traveling, right? Because my work required travel. And I actually had to leave a job because I could not, you can't leave your kids at home, right? And I would, every time there was some opportunity and there was travel, I would, like, my face would be like, I don't even know if I can do that. How am I going to wing it? Well, now I think people no longer think they have to travel for one meeting, right? We can do this. We're from all over, right? We're from Batangas, Taguig, California. I love it, right? So things are in our favor, women and girls, and let's do it. All of us here are going to support you. So I'm very, very hopeful that, diversity will not be so much of a hindrance, but if it is, just keep on going forward.
Thank you. And MK, same question to you. What have been the challenges and opportunities as a female founder, but also, just given what you're teaching, how do you sort of impart that same sort of energy and encouragement to all the other moms and members of your community to push forward with their dreams or work aspirations?
Our community has over 250,000 members nationwide, and I've been educating them that yes, it is possible to work from home and take care of your family. In our startup company alone, we have more than 50 employees. That includes our interns and volunteers who has been working, and we are an all-female team. We're not just moms, but we were also able to accept students, single ladies. So I'm happy that it's possible, and I can say that we did it in our company, because a lot of other people are saying that it's not possible to have this kind of company that is led by women alone. It has to be balanced or equal, stuff like that. But I guess because all of us are women, and we have the same mindset and the same women work at the same level. Women are very responsible, especially moms. That's why a lot of our employers and clients look for work at home mom. So I can say that yes, it's possible, and we don't have any problem dealing with our clients looking for virtual assistants, because we explain to them that we can do it, and we never failed them in the first place. That's why they keep on coming back. I have a lot of startup friends who hired their first virtual assistants from FH Homes, and they are very happy about it. So as per any issues, because our moms can actually hide if they're breastfeeding. They don't have to to show it in the Zoom call. They can just move the babies lower. So it's a good it's a good opportunity for all the moms to work from home, because they can do both, right? So they can earn and at the same time do their responsibilities.
So we're really close to time here. I think I have a ton more questions, but I'll end with this one, which is looking towards the future, whether that's future of technology or in your particular space and industry. How does our position or perspective as women affect the role of innovation, and how should we look at the future in terms of innovation? Like, what are your thoughts on our role going forward? I'll start with Catherine, and this is a question for all of you. So,
yeah, I think it's super important to think. It's actually a really good philosophical question to think about as a group here. Innovation is a tool, and that's the way, that's the way I see it. And I hope that everybody on this meeting sees it as well. It's because of even the technology we're using right at this very moment that all of us can be home with our families and be working and be starting new things. And even if COVID had some rough patches where businesses didn't make it, there's always a silver lining. It's just making room for the next opportunity. And maybe this next opportunity is a better opportunity and a bigger opportunity. Without online capabilities like this, I think there's just going to be tons of new businesses started because of this remote work space. And as a mom with mom friends, I have had no less than a dozen moms come to me, and it's really where MK's business is. We need to do it here. Who, their kids are graduating from high school. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Do I get certified? Do I go back and be a teacher? Do I work at a store down the street? And I think those options are all there. But now with technology and distributed work as a new norm, I think women can get back to work sooner if that's what they want, and they can start their own businesses. So I think we should lean into this whole innovation explosion and know that software is pervasive, technology is pervasive. It's just up to our own creativity. I think that, I think that innovation now, the other thing is it opens up new ideas about services that we can provide, like Ronna's service, like the one that I'm working on with my daughter and tutoring. And by the way, how would we have expanded internationally overnight in 6 weeks if it weren't for remote technology like what we have now? I think that there's so much more opportunities. I think that some big areas now are services. I think integration capabilities, if you're a coder or in the technology space, there's even niches of verticalizing things that are already being done, but need to be verticalized for specific industries like accounting for the doctor's office or what. There's so many niches. And so if you have a technical degree or you get a degree from Ronna, you can actually develop your own software and you can do that from home. So I love it. I'm so excited. So many opportunities.
Awesome. MK, your thoughts on, where does FH Moms go from here? Or, how are you innovating both in the business, and what is your sort of vision, I guess, for the future, both for your company specifically, but also for the role of women going forward?
Mm-hmm. For our members, I've been teaching them about freelancing or online jobs. And they're like my babies. I nurture them. I teach them step by step. Because, a lot of Filipinos are afraid of the technology. And we have members who are in their 60s who are not techie. They would say that they are not techie, but once they learn the tools that they could use, that are easy to use, they enjoy it. And I'm so happy to see that progress. So what I notice is that a lot of our moms who landed an online job, and once they successfully earn, they would venture to another business, either traditional or mostly it's tech. For example, a mom that is an e-commerce virtual assistant would venture to her own e-commerce store, or a freelancer that would start her own agency. So that is the path that I noticed for a lot of our moms. That's why we're now adding more courses, webinars that will teach them about digital entrepreneurship. So as you can see, in terms of the trend, in terms of the opportunities, I can see that this is not just for the future of work, but the future for businesses. Sorry about that.
That's awesome. And Ronna, your thoughts?
Yeah, I really echo, these two women who really I'm learning a lot from as well. I think, well, just to frame how I'm going to answer the question, we do have the coding school, which is for kids 6 to 19. We have also an adult coding education program for adults. And then we have a tutorial program called teach-up.com. And so these are different ed tech companies, very specific. And one of the things that we I think moving forward is realizing is niche courses are very important. And then even within that, women-focused ones are important. So we're actually making an effort that we have, jobs for women at home, similar to what MK is doing on the digital side. We try to tailor it by gender as well, and this is the market is requesting it, and also we feel it's definitely something we can do for economic empowerment, both for girls and women. Another trend that we're seeing is education will continue to be outsourced. So traditional schools may be outsourcing very niche skills, such as coding. We're already seeing that. We are being asked to do that. And finally, with technology and innovation moving into the future, we see that women are in the decision-making table and also in the digital design and technology design table. So having them making those decisions will allow us to create products that are tailored for women. And I'm very excited about that with technology and innovation.
That's exciting. All right, I think we're at time. I'm going to give everybody sort of one last opportunity to both impart any, last words of advice. And if you, think you've shared what you need to say today, just how people can find you or connect with you, whether that's your email or Instagram or Facebook, and we can just go around and share that. Catherine, do you want to start?
Sure. I'll just bring up one topic that we talked about before we got on, and that is, since my background is raising capital, and maybe people wonder, like, should I bring in investors? How do I raise capital? And I think for the early stages of entrepreneurship, I just want to bring that to the forefront, that I think when you raise capital, you oftentimes, in order to do so, you give up control. You sell a portion of the business and give up control. So I would not seek outside capital so quickly early on. I would bootstrap it all the way and build a financial and business model that can be self-sustaining for as long as possible. And only later, when you're, much bigger and you need either global presence, or you need to expand in some big strategic way, or you need the sponsorship and the brand awareness that some investors bring to you, or connections into other channels that you need, then you can just call me. And my email is catherine@buan.us.
Thank you, Catherine. MK?
Yeah. So I have a message for all the startup founders like me, because I just realized that we are a startup when we joined ESIP last year, and then now we're also part of the Dado Accelerator program as well as the Facebook Accelerator program. So I hope you don't give up with your startup, because you can get a lot of help from other organizations that will support us. And I also hope you could, validate your ideas first, because I see a lot of startups failing because they don't validate their ideas. So this organizations as well as accelerator programs will help you with that, definitely. And to those who are startups as well as business owners, you could hire virtual assistants from us, definitely. And if you're looking for an online job and a support group, you can join our community as well. Just look for us in social media. We're all over social media. We're in Facebook as well as YouTube. So just look for Filipina Homebased Moms.
All right. Thank you, MK. And Ronna?
Okay, you can reach me. My name, Ronna Reyes-Sieh. It's there. And all my socials are my name. You can email me at ronna@coding.ph. And that's also the website of our main company. Anyone who wants coding classes from anywhere in the world, you can reach out to us. We have also tutorials with teach-up.com. But my final message is, as a startup founder, I tell everybody my story, and I'm so open to collaboration. I am only where I am because women like everyone here have really helped me. So anyone out there who has ideas, who, even if I even talk to competitors, this is not, it's not a fixed buy. And where I am is largely due to all my informal boards of people who I talk to on a regular basis and tell them. So I have a marketing person, I have an accounting, a finance person, I have friends, I have wellness people, and I have people who are in the same business as me. So if you're out there, you don't know me, strangers have reached out to me. I love it. I learn from you. And if we can share, I'm open to that. So really big on collaboration. Please ping me. Love to hear from you. And really proud to be on this journey and being proud on this panel. So thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. And with that, we'll conclude and hopefully see you all at the live Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.